want to go around the division real quickly. And Cincinnati did go to San Francisco and beat the shit out of them. And you could say, well, they had injuries. Going on the road and beating a perennial contender, Super Bowl contender, by 14, to me, and I thought the biggest storyline, Joe Burrow, not only did he look good, the dude was running. They had designed runs for Joe Burrow. And say what you want, you can hate the Bengals. Clearly, he's more healthy now at this point in time.
Yeah, I think every year of Joe Burrow's career, it's like he has a mandatory 4 to 5 week period to start the year where he just has to play badly. I don't know what it is, but you can look back and he's always had some sort of injury or hindrance in the off season. So he's had slow starts, but it just feels like the same old, same old. Bengals start like 1-3. Everyone goes, oh, there it is. The Bengals are done for. And then they just put it together. I mean, when you have an offensive T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, you're going to put it together eventually. I mean, so I don't think it was a matter of if, it was when. And it's going to be a dogfight for the AFC North. It's going to be a dogfight in, 3 weeks when we meet at the bank. So just a lot to look forward to, and it's going to be quite the run down the stretch in the AFC North.
Well, and there's the stats right there. I was talking about the rushing yards, 43 for Joe. And I understand that San Francisco's banged up. That defense is still elite, and they put up 31 on them. Granted, Brock Purdy did give, turn the ball over a few times or a couple times that set up some opportunities, but mainly the Bengals, they were more physical. They were better coached. They just outplayed the San Francisco 49ers. That game in Baltimore is going to be electric. The other game around, the PJ Walker talk, man, the Browns almost pulled it off in Seattle, but PJ Walker's late interception set up a chance for Seattle. Seattle cashed in. The Browns are just tough. The Browns defense is just tough. And the Ravens got to face them the following week after Seattle. I mean, you got, Parker, any concerns with the Browns?
The Browns? No, I don't have any concerns with the Browns. I think by the time we get around to them, we're going to have our things in order. I think when I look at our division, very top heavy, Browns, Bengals, are going to get it going. Ravens, elite, obviously.
Elite.
I'm just worried about that Pittsburgh game kind of snipping us in the butt down the stretch.
It always finds a way to.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, but I think we go into Cleveland. We take care of business.
And it'll be a home game. So that was at least the nice thing about these divisional games is that they're all going to be at home now. So obviously, the Bengals, looking like the Bengals of old. I said this at the beginning of the season, though. I still question whether or not they're actually going to make it to the playoffs this year. They started the season 0-3. I don't know if that's ever happened. A team started 0-3 that actually made it to the playoffs. Look, they're going to look really good down the stretch, I think, but they played the 49ers and they handled them, but so did the other two teams that played them. And so I have a hard time trying to figure out if it's the Bengals that are that good or if it's just that the 49ers have somehow fallen off a cliff. I will say Joe Burrow looked damn good this weekend.
Yes, he did.
That 28 for 32 stat line is absolutely bananas. So that's going to be something that I want to see more of before I'm like, oh yeah, we got to watch out for the Bengals going down into as far as the division's concerned. But with looking at the Browns, PJ Walker should be undefeated as a starter.
Should be. Oh my God, disgusting.
Zach still wants his jersey, which I respect.
We gotta hang it. We gotta hang the PJ Walker.
Put it in the rafters here.
Put it in the rafters.
Put it in the rafters at the studio.
But I'm still not sleeping on the Browns either. Like, I get what Parker's saying, but man, that Browns defense is ridiculous. Even though the Ravens hung 28 points on them, I still think they're right up there with the Ravens as far as best in the league.
Yeah, the thing is, in that game in Seattle, they were down, came back, and their defense kept them in the game, but they were running the football. They're still running the ball pretty efficiently without Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt, Jerome Ford, they had Pierre Strong. The combination, And as we see, if your defense can be opportunistic and keep you in games, things can happen. And things have happened for the Browns. But it was a good day overall for if you're a Ravens fan, the AFC North, because the Browns did lose. Obviously, the Bengals won, unfortunately. If you're a Ravens fan, the Steelers dropped a home game to the Jaguars. Kenny Pickett got hurt. But I think the most draw to that game, Deontay Johnson's back playing the last couple of weeks, but the most buzz was around Deontay Johnson having a couple words about what he felt about the officials after the game.
Nobody said they cost us the game. Like, yeah, I got to make plays, them 2 plays, them catches or whatever, but that don't define, you know what I'm saying, the whole game.
One more, guys.
How about them missing the call on Kenny where he hurt his ribs? Looked like he got rough there, too.
They wanted them to win. Bro. They was calling. Everything was in their favor. Like, they were getting every little call. But it is what it is. But we can't, like I said, I'm moving on from it. Like, I'm ready for Thursday.
So I didn't watch this game. I don't know if anybody else did, but
yes.
It's just interesting to me. And we had this conversation last week, Zach, about, the Eagles game where the Eagles had 0 penalties, and what was it? 7 somewhere, something like that, that the Miami Dolphins had 7 penalties to the Eagles 0. So
It was 10-0, I believe. Yeah, it was 10-0.
Even worse. So you get the point. It's kind of weird. And I don't want to continue to have this conversation because I don't, how do I put this? I don't want to, but it kind of feels like we have to have this conversation as far as like, listen, the NFL's got, their hands into gambling now. The MGM is the official sponsor of the NFL. And so you got to start people. If I'm not talking about it, somebody else is going to, as far as this feels weird, right? Like this feels really weird that there's officials out there that somehow are seeing every penalty that one team's making versus the other. And look, I'm not the conspiracy theorist type, but this seems really, really weird.
Yeah. I honestly, I just was laughing at the fact of, I really want to know over or under the fines, $70,000 for Deontay Johnson.
It's insane.
Like
Ridiculous.
it's gonna be ridiculous. But I honestly, I think the biggest part he was referring to was there's a penalty that was called on the Steelers after they converted a field goal right before the half, and then they lose. Plain and simple, though, Pittsburgh was not very good yesterday. They almost found it. It was like one of those games in Pittsburgh where how the hell did they win? How did they get back into a win? That's what was happening yesterday. The Jaguars were the better team. Overall, Trevor Lawrence almost threw for 300 yards. Travis Etienne had another big day. But Kenny Pickett gets hurt, only threw for 73 yards before Mitchell Trubisky comes in and throws for $138. The Steelers' offense isn't that great. Their defense is, on the other hand, very solid and opportunistic. It's a word I've used too many times, but I'm going to say it again. Opportunistic. But hey, the Jags are 6-2. Steelers are now 4-3.